Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's morning ramble. And today's ramble is inspired by a conversation I had yesterday with my friend Dickon Bettinger. Dickon and I are leading a one-day program on Monday the 1st of March called An End to Insecurity. And you can find out more about that at michaelneill.org, or we'll link it with this post. But we were talking about what we think are the most important things for people to realize about insecurity, that if they saw them more clearly, they wouldn't struggle with it as much. And for me, the big one, or one of the big ones, is seeing that there is no direct relationship between insecurity and uncertainty. So we live in uncertain times. That seems very clear. I don't think that's a contentious statement. It is not certain what's going to happen next with COVID. It's not certain what's going to happen next with business and economies. It's not certain what's going to happen next with travel. It's not certain what's going to happen next with education. It's not certain what's going to happen next politically, whatever country you happen to be in right now. But the idea that therefore life is inherently insecure doesn't follow from that. Insecurity is made of thought. In my TED Talk, I share Why Aren't We Awesomer? I share the story of Sid Banks, the enlightened Scottish welder's first big epiphany. He was talking to a psychologist, and they were talking about how insecure they were. And when the psychologist had heard him out for a while, he said, "You're not insecure, Sid. You just think you are." And Sid heard that. He heard it deeper than the psychologist. In fact, when he asked the psychologist, "Do you know what you just said?" The psychologist goes, "I'm a psychologist. Of course I knew what I said." But Sid knew that he couldn't have, because he was still connecting his insecurity to the world. The world will always be filled with uncertainty. That does not mean that we need to fill ourselves up with insecure thinking, that we need to feed ourselves a steady diet of worry and anxious thought. We can live in an uncertain world, knowing that the wisdom, the real-time responsive intelligence inside us will help us navigate as things unfold in a way that trying to use the logical part of our brains to navigate is just never gonna do. It's not made for that. So I think of the brain sometimes as like this incredibly extraordinary storage mechanism. Right? It's this incredibly complex storage mechanism that allows us to store so much data and has all these neural connections that allow us to access that data when we need it, and it's super cool. But to ask it to navigate an uncertain future is like trying to ask the hard drive on your computer to operate as the GPS in your car. It's not that the hard drive isn't a freaking miracle. It's not that it isn't amazing. It's that it's not designed for navigational purposes. And our little thinking brains are not designed as navigational tools. They're storage devices. So if you want to effectively navigate uncertain circumstances, which is most circumstances, then you're going to do that best from a place underneath the noise of the storage, from that real-time wisdom, that inner knowing, that inner sense of direction. And feeling more or less insecure just adds more noise on top of the GPS. It's like, I had a car once, and it confused me. It was a rental car, that the radio would keep cutting out And I realized finally that it was a feature, not a bug. That in fact it was designed that whenever the nav system was going to give a new direction, it automatically turned down the radio to make it easier to hear the directions. Well, interestingly, that's not a feature that's built into us. The nav system's constantly on, and the radio's constantly on. And when we're listening to, radio station KINS, Insecurity all day, every day, it's just harder to hear the nav system sometimes. But when we turn down the volume on the radio, or we just stop paying as much attention to what it's saying, it's actually quite easy to hear the GPS, to hear the guidance system underneath. So, would love to hear what you heard in that, what you have seen about the relationship or lack thereof between insecurity and uncertainty and navigating. And till next time, have fun, learn heaps, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye for now.